all alone here.
Thank you, Jane.
Well, thank
again
you.
for coming.
Thank you. This is unbelievable. What an amazing evening, and this huge number of people that showed up for this, and the food and the wine, and what an honor. Thank you.
We have a remarkable community in St. Cloud, and we're delighted to have you join us here for Spring Fling and bring us spring weather.
Glad we did, because I didn't have any winter clothes with me. I came from Tampa with a swimsuit.
So let's start with a fun question. Have you ever been to Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, or as Garrison Keeler likes to say, where the women are strong, the men are good looking, and the children are above average? Have you been to Minnesota before?
I have. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. Bill Mack, the sculptor, invited me here. It's a strange name. What's the name? What? Azina.
Edina.
Izina. Okay, it's interesting. I was there. Oh gosh, who's our friend who does the charity for the ears? For Starkey, the Starkey Foundation. I've been involved with them. So yes, I have been. I've never spent enough time here to actually witness the real beauty of where you are here, but one thing I must mention up front is that my two closest friends on the planet, two people that I love more than anything, are both from Minnesota. So that would be Stephen Bickle and Darcy, I guess she's not called, I don't know what her original name was, but Darcy Bond, I think. Anyway, they're very, very close friends. One is still with us and one sadly has passed. But I've always noticed that for some reason I've been I really enjoy people from Minnesota. You know, what is it you have? And everyone's so nice. And I know Canadians are nice, but you're really nice. So, no, you're wonderful people. I always remember on Dr. Quinn, when we used to see the numbers of who was watching Dr. Quinn, there was, you know, nice amount of people, nice amount of people, nice amount of people, and then there was this place called Minnesota. And, you know, they were all watching Dr. Quinn. As far as they were concerned, there was nothing else on the planet. So thank you, thank you.
So Jane, could you please tell us who or what connected you with our community and Centracare?
The Winfields. This wonderful family. They're just amazing. Sheila and Jean and all of them. They're just, I think we met in 2001 or sometime like that. It seems like forever that I've known them, and they were my very earliest supporters of not just my art, but what I was doing with the Open Heart. And I think they witnessed the very first Open Hearts and just said, okay, we get this. And I think their encouragement really led me to continue with it and build it up to what it is now, which is, especially the double Open Heart, has really become like a universal symbol of giving and receiving love. And but I am beyond excited to know that this single Open Heart, the first one ever on the planet of mine, is going to be right here in St. Cloud. I'm just, and it's so beautiful. So beautiful, and I can't thank them enough for doing this. You know, this will be a legacy forever.
You led in talking about your Open Hearts philosophy and the symbolism behind your work. Talk a little bit more about how that came to be for you. What struck your heart about your work?
Well, the real story of the Open Heart, the inspiration behind it was whenever I was asked to paint hearts for American Heart Association, originally for a campaign they were doing to alert women to the dangers of heart disease, which is of course the silent killer. And I know because I deal with heart issues, my entire family, it's something I know well, and my father was a doctor, so I'm well up on that. But when I was painting for them, I realized that whenever I drew a heart, I always left it open. And I remember my mother used to say to me, in life, everyone will have a challenge. And when you have a challenge, your natural instinct will be to close off your heart and keep it inside. And if you do that, it'll be like a long-playing LP record with a scratch. It'll just go round and round, and you'll never get over it. And you'll never be able to move on in your life. And she said, but darling, if you can accept what's happened, however hard, open your heart and reach out to help someone else. Especially if it's someone who's going through something that you've just been dealing with. She said, you'll have a purpose. When you have a purpose in life, she said, love comes back into your life. And so I created the open heart and then the double open heart, which is the one that you see on the jewelry a lot. And many people don't know, but my mother survived an internment camp in Indonesia, a Japanese camp, for 3.5 years during World War II. That was one of the many things she dealt with. But she was, to the end, she was positive, she was living in the moment, and she was helping people. And I've been through lots of ups and downs myself, and I've met a lot of people who've had extraordinarily tragic and difficult things to deal with. And it's amazing, you know, when you do accept and you do open your heart and you share with other people the pain you're going through and you move through to actually being of service, and somehow by sharing what you've been through with other people, they then can communicate with you and you can help them, and the next thing you know, you're on your way to being able to continue in life and live in the moment and appreciate this incredible gift that, you know, that we're given to have on this planet.
Wonderful. So could you please describe for us the installation of your monumental open heart sculptures? Tell us about how many there are, where they are, and what they are.
Well, the one you have here, as you know, is going to the hospital, correct? And I can't wait to see it there on Saturday. And I'm so excited about the granite base. I just think that's so appropriate, first of all, because this is the home of granite. And secondly, because it's spectacularly beautiful, and the whole idea that people, because sculpture is three-dimensional, so people can sit all the way around it, and I think that was why it's so much fun to have photographs with everyone seated, so you could actually see that piece. It's bronze, it'll last forever, it's a one of a kind, there is not another one on the planet. This is the first one ever of its kind, and I'm just so excited that it's here and so proud. The double open heart, I have one in my back garden. It's beautiful, stunning, I love it. People climb all over it, sit on it, take photographs endlessly. There's one in Calgary, in a residential area, in a public space, Legacy I think it's called. And it's a very open-hearted community, and so the builder of that community wanted that sculpture there to be a center point for all of them, and that was really lovely. And of course there's a gold one in Akron, Ohio, at the home office of Signet, which is the parent company of Kay Jewelers, Jared's, and actually they recently purchased Zales, and Peoples in Canada, and H. Samuels and Ernest Jones in England. So it's a very large company, and they exclusively do open hearts jewelry with me, and they have the huge, big gold one, so it's beautiful. And I have heard that there's a possibility of another one going to New Orleans maybe next year.
I hope all of you in the audience noticed as you came in today, the sculpture that Jane is referring to is indeed going to St. Cloud Hospital to be in our heart center. It has been donated by the Winfields. Again, thank you, Jean and Sheila. Jane, talk a little bit about your relationship with the Winfields and how this came about and the donations. How did this all play together as your friends?
Well, yes, I mean, as I said, they discovered my art way back when, and they loved the open hearts. They loved a lot of things I was doing, and we, you know, were involved with a number of art shows, and you know, they are open-hearted people. That's who they are. That's what they are. They give and give and give, and that's why we're here today. And I was just so honored when they purchased this piece, and especially when they said they were purchasing it for a donation to the hospital, because, you know, art heals. And there will be a lot of people who will come and go to that hospital, a lot of people who will visit that hospital, and they'll touch it and feel it and sit on it and sit next to it and take photographs with it. It will be there forever. it's magic. I mean, you've given an amazing gift, and you're honoring the generosity of your entire family. And I love you all, and thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for bringing me here to Minnesota.
Wonderful. And you know what we're here for tonight, I think the question of the night is, what does art and healing mean to you, and how can it impact our patients and our residents?
Well, first of all, I went through a terrible, terrible divorce 26 years ago, and I thought I was going to be married forever, and I thought everything was great, and then suddenly, literally the world fell out from underneath me, and it was everything from massive betrayal to the fact that I then found out at the height of my career, my husband had lost all our money and left me $9 million in the red with lawsuits from every major bank. And I couldn't even do basic math, so that was not good. My mother's wisdom, she was with me at the time, and she said, give back when you're really hurting. And I went to a Child Help USA function, a child abuse prevention and organization. And there was an artist who was donating his time to do a piece of art in a silent auction, which I bid on with money that I knew I wouldn't have anymore because I was about to be bankrupt, which, by the way, I never was in the end. Very proud of that. But he came to the house, saw my paintings, my finger paintings I did with my kids, offered to give me some free lessons because I told him I was about to be homeless and definitely couldn't afford materials, and he taught me some watercolor. And I was just literally at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, I could barely breathe or sleep or eat or do anything, but you know you have to because you have kids and you have to work, and I had to be on camera and do all that kind of thing. But this gift that I was given was to paint watercolors. And once I got into a watercolor, I just couldn't stop. And it was like this unbelievable Zen healing thing that happened to me. And I just painted and painted and painted. And I painted my way back into happiness and joy. And it was really interesting because you'd think when you're that low and that angry and that upset and that scared that you'd paint angry, scared things. But I didn't. I painted beauty. I painted the beauty of nature, serenity, flowers, landscapes, and then eventually what I knew, mothers and children and on the beach and things like that. So healing is, I think art is incredibly healing. And I have been to a number of old people's homes, and especially memory places, because I don't know if you know, but I produced a movie called I'll Be Me about Glenn Campbell and his final tour when he had Alzheimer's. It's a fantastic movie if you haven't seen it. It's really extraordinary. And I go and visit Glenn in his care home, which is fantastic, and he's very well looked after. But before he got that far, he came to my studio, and at this point, Kim, his wife, was just desperate. She just said, you know, he can't do anything anymore. He doesn't know, you know, his own bedroom. He doesn't know where his own bathroom is. It's getting really bad. But he came in, and I got him painting. And he did a couple of paintings with me in my studio, and he just had the best time. There was a smile on his face, he started singing, he got carried away with it, and we were just all watching. We just said, wow, you know, this has brought him back into the present moment, and so happy, not frustrated at all. You know, he's painting abstract, but he knew what he was painting. He said, that's a house, that's a this, that's a that, and we went, you're right, it is. And it was wonderful. And we've actually made some reproductions of those pieces, and when we sell those, they go towards Glenn and towards people with Alzheimer's. So, yes, art is very healing, and not just for everybody. You know, you don't have to be in an old people's home to be healed with art. And I actually believe that everyone knows how to paint. They just don't give themselves permission to believe it.
On behalf of all of us, on behalf of our communities, thank you for sharing your art. Thank you for sharing the art of healing. Thank you for coming and visiting and sharing your time and talent so graciously. Let's have a round of applause as they leave the stage for Jane. Winfield family. And again, what a marvelous evening.